He woke up in the dark, chest deep in freezing water, alone, in the wreckage of a sunken ship, 30 meters beneath the ocean's surface. Around him, nothing but silence, twisted steel, and death. 10 of his crewmates were gone. There was no light, no food, just a small pocket of air, and the terrifying knowledge that no one was coming. This is the story of Harrison Okene, a man declared dead, a man the ocean tried to bury. And yet, for 3 days he fought the cold, the fear, and the crushing pressure of the deep, until the impossible happened. He survived, and against all odds, he lived to tell. The sea was calm in the early hours of May 26, 2013. Off the coast of Nigeria, the Sunken 4 tugboat floated steadily in the dark waters of the Atlantic. 11 men were on board, assigned to support offshore oil operations. They had done this many times before. There was nothing unusual that morning. Below deck, the cook, Harrison Okene, was already awake. He liked to start early. At around 4:30 a.m., while most of the crew still slept, he stepped into the bathroom to get ready for another day. The hallway was quiet. The only sound was the faint hum of the ship's generators. And then, without warning, the ship jolted violently. A massive wave, unexpected and sudden, struck the Sunken 4 broadside. The impact was catastrophic. Within seconds, the vessel rolled sharply and capsized, flipping completely upside down in open sea. The lights cut out. Everything went black. Harrison was thrown off balance. The small bathroom he was in quickly became a death trap. Salt water poured in. The room turned sideways. Pressure built. Screams could be heard, but only for a few seconds. Then they were gone. In the chaos, Harrison made a split-second decision that saved his life. He forced the bathroom door open and dove into the flooded hallway, swimming blindly. Everything was disorienting. The ship was upside down. Gravity was meaningless. The water was ice cold. And there was no visibility. Somehow, guided only by instinct and memory, he found his way into the engineer's office, a compartment now half flooded, completely dark, but miraculously holding a small pocket of air. He surfaced, gasping. He had no idea where he was or how long the air would last. He only knew one thing. He was alive. He climbed onto a floating mattress, his legs still submerged in salt water. Every inch of his skin was soaked. The air was humid and metallic. It stank of diesel, oil, and decay. He called out. He screamed into the void. He banged on the walls with pipes, metal rods, anything he could find. But there was no response. Only silence. Slowly he began to take in his surroundings. He was in a space no larger than a walk-in closet, flipped on its side in total darkness. The water lapped just below his chest. The ceiling, now the floor, creaked and shifted with every underwater current. There was no light, no phone, no radio, no way out. As the hours passed, the cold became unbearable. The salt water began to strip the outer layer of his skin. His legs, submerged the entire time, began to swell and blister. He had nothing to eat, nothing to drink, until he found a single can of soda floating nearby, his only nourishment for the next 3 days. By nightfall, reality began to sink in. No one was coming. He realized that unless someone knew he was down there, he was going to die. Not from drowning, but from thirst, hypothermia, or slow asphyxiation. Still, he refused to give up. He prayed. Over and over. He recited Psalm 54 from memory. "O God, save me by your name and vindicate me by your might." On the second day, his body began to weaken. He could barely move. The cold burned deeper. His breath became shorter. He was inhaling high levels of carbon dioxide, recycled over and over in that tight, humid space. Then the hallucinations began. He heard voices, some angry, some kind. He heard footsteps above him. He imagined someone calling his name. He thought he saw light under the door. But when he opened his eyes, nothing. Just pitch-black water and the creaking of the ship's remains. On the third day, something changed. A sound, different from the rest. Rhythmic and metallic, tapping. Then bubbles. Was divers. But they weren't there to rescue him. They had come to recover bodies. As the diver scanned the corridor with his flashlight, he entered the engineer's office. Then a hand reached out. Harrison had positioned himself at the edge of the air pocket, hoping someone might pass. When he saw the diver's light, he plunged his arm into the water and grabbed him. The diver jerked back. At first he thought it was a dead body. But when the hand gripped tighter, he froze. This wasn't a body. It was a man. Alive. The diver screamed, "Survivor! We have a survivor!" What followed was a carefully coordinated rescue. Harrison was fitted with a diving mask and brought out slowly. But he couldn't be taken to the surface right away. After nearly 62 hours underwater, his blood was saturated with nitrogen. Surfacing too quickly would kill him. He was placed in a decompression chamber for over 60 hours more. Doctors monitored his vitals constantly. When he finally emerged, he had survived over 5 days between the wreck and the chamber. The world called it a miracle, but Harrison simply called it grace. Harrison Okene never returned to the sea. After surviving something that no one should, he left that world behind. The ocean that nearly became his grave is now a memory he carries quietly every single day. He still has scars from the saltwater burns. And sometimes, when it rains heavily or the power goes out at night, he says he can feel the darkness pressing in again. Just like it did 30 meters under. But Harrison is alive. He wakes up each morning with gratitude, holds his wife a little closer, prays a little longer, because he knows something most people never will. He knows what it means to be forgotten and found, to feel death reach for you and slip away, to survive not just by luck, but by will. This wasn't just a story about being trapped underwater. It was a story about holding on when there's nothing left to hold, about hope when all logic says there is none. This was the story of Harrison Okene, and against every possible odd, he lived to tell. Stories like Harrison's remind us that even in the darkest, coldest places, hope can survive. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real and inspiring stories of survival, resilience, and the strength of the human spirit. Thank you for watching.